What's up, everybody? Grab your weed, fire it up. It's time for smoking weed and talking mixed martial arts. This is episode number 53. My name is Jarrod. I'm here with my buddy Paul.
Yo.
We're coming to you from the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. On today's episode, we're going to take a look back at UFC 244 and the future of the BMF title. We're going to take a look at the upcoming UFC Fight Night in Moscow. We're also going to talk a little bit about boxing on today's episode. We had a pretty good fight this past weekend with Canelo versus Kovalev. But before we dive into that, we're going to do our weed of the week.
Smoke weed every day.
In today's episode, we're smoking on 3 delicious strains of premium Las Vegas cannabis. What did you just take a hit of there, Paul?
Some pink cookies,
Pink cookies.
also known as wedding cake.
Wonder why it wound up with 2 names. I don't know that. I do know
Strange
it's cherry pie crossed with Girl Scout cookies.
Can't go wrong with either of those strains.
No, cherry pie's got some Durban Poison as its parent, and
Yep.
another one I forget, but I like it. I like cherry pie.
Me too.
I like the pink cookies. Which name you like better?
Either one. This shit is hella fresh, and I like it. It's got that like hoppy smell.
Yeah, it does. It smells kind of like an IPA, right? Yeah, it is real fresh. That's some good looking herb. Got a couple others here. I'm gonna hit this. We also got some Sour Banana Sherbet, which because of its lineage is also one of my favorites. It's banana sherbet crossed with AJ Sour Diesel.
Okay.
AJ Sour Diesel is just like a phenotype of sour diesel that's really premium.
Okay.
We've also got some Paris OG's French cookies. There's like 2 different French cookie strains. There's French cookies, then there's Paris OG's French cookies. So this is one's basically an indica, one's a sativa. This
Okay.
one that we got, the Paris OG's French cookies, is a indica, and you can kind of guess what its fucking cross is.
I'm gonna guess. No, I'm not gonna guess.
Paris OG crossed with Girl Scout cookies. So we got a nice little blend of weed. I'm gonna hit this. Shit, I forgot what this is already. This is the cookies.
Yeah.
Dude, that's nice.
Yep.
It tastes a little hoppy too, actually.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
I like that a lot. Although I'm not a fan of IPA beers, so. You like IPA beer?
No.
I don't
No, I don't dislike it. I mean, it's not just like the first thing I'm looking for though.
I actively dislike it. I
Actively-
like
oh,
beer.
nice.
I like dark beers. I like stouts. I do like light beers, like something simple. Like even something, like if it's going to be cheap beers, like a Corona is probably my favorite cheap beer. But fucking IPAs I can't get into.
I feel
I
it.
think they're awful. But I don't mind it in the weed.
I'm not much of a drinker, honestly, at all. I'm pretty lightweight when it comes to drinking, so it's like I just smoke.
Dude, smoking's better for you than alcohol.
Well, I mean,
Probably leaps and bounds. You won't do stupid
yeah,
shit.
yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
I'm not
I mean,
knocking drinking.
I'll do stupid shit.
You do stupid shit like you eat too much. You'll say
Yeah.
something stupid.
You-
Maybe you'll look goofy. But, you know, you're
Or
not going to go
you'll
like, do
fucking
something
lose
ridiculous.
shit. I lose shit when I'm baked all the time. Pisses me off.
Dude, I do too. I
Then
lose
it kills
remotes.
my eye.
Do you lose your remotes?
Yeah,
I
it's
lose
the
my
worst.
TV. I have 2 remotes for my TV, and they're both black, and half my fucking furniture is black or dark.
Yeah,
I fucking lose them all the time.
fuck that.
And I don't understand it because I'll be sitting there. It's just because I'm high. But I won't
Yeah.
go nowhere. Like, I just sit there, and somehow my remote disappears.
Fuck.
Very frustrating.
That's the worst. Or you find out you've been sitting on it the whole time.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
switch
like,
up. We got this
fuck.
other weed. We got this. This is the French cookies here, but this is also layered with a bunch of keef. This from that skunk berry we were smoking last week.
All
This is
right.
like all skunk berry keef because I went on a skunk berry fucking trip. I didn't smoke anything else for like 2 weeks
Okay.
outside of the show.
I
I don't know. I've
feel
been
it.
experimenting around a lot with just different terpenes and how they affect your mood.
Uh-huh.
And I found that skunk berry, the terpenes that are in that, and the way the two is, it's blueberry across the skunk. The way those two come together in the hybrid is just very uplifting, and it made me feel just really like in a happy mood. Like specifically more than like weed always makes you happy, right?
I was gonna say.
But once you smoke a lot, like, I've been smoking weed a long, long time, so have you, but
Yeah.
you learn to develop, you can differentiate the variances between herbs and how it makes you feel. Kind of like you can tell the difference between different Cabernet Sauvignons if you're really into wine. But if you
Sure.
just drink a little wine, you're like, this shit all tastes the same. It's fucking red wine.
Yeah.
It tastes like red wine.
Tastes like shit.
But if you know your shit, it's all crazy different, right? So it's kind of like that, in my opinion, at least. So I found this weed was really hitting me good. The synergistic effects were.
It's like you ever seen that South Park where Towley comes in and have you seen the new one where he owns his own weed farm now?
No, I have not caught up on the new season of
All
South
right,
Park
so
yet.
in the new season of South Park, spoiler alert, I guess. Towley is like he comes to certify Stan's dad's weed.
Over
And
Integrity Farms?
yeah, yeah. So he just
Got
like puts
Integrity?
he puts this in this machine, and he like smokes it. He's like, that's some good shit. He's just taking all his weed. He's just like, man, that's some good shit. So, that's pretty much how I also rate my weed.
That's our new damn button there. That's funny, man. I got to get caught up on the new South Park. We haven't seen Towley in a fucking long ass time. When we save this banana sherbet for later in the show, we'll keep smoking on these two. Let's dive into some fucking fights, man. We want to talk first, dude. We could talk boxing, or we could talk that BMF title and all of its fights associated with it. 'Cause there's a lot of
Well,
good
let's
fights
start
on
off
that
with
card.
boxing because there's not as much to talk about.
Yeah, by boxing, we're talking about Canelo Alvarez making that jump up to light heavyweight of all things.
I'll admit it.
Dude,
I was wrong. I was wrong.
fighting Sergey Kovalev
Yeah. Tough motherfucker, I
for
guess.
his light heavyweight championship, and he's no joke. I mean, he's it's tough as they come.
He fought different this time too. He didn't stick to the game plan he usually does at the lighter weight classes, which is to kind of rope and dope people, which I think was smart
Talking
on
about
his
Canelo
end.
fought different.
Yeah. No, normally he had like a very, I mean, at least lately in his career, he's kind of adapted more of like a Floyd Mayweather style. But last night was much different than what he's been fighting. Like he was more of the aggressor, walking Kovalev down and trying to put him away the whole time. It seemed like.
Yeah, if you look at the scores, a lot of people had it pretty even after that 10th. However, what did you think of that?
I disagree because a lot of people were judging off of activity instead of what was landing. Because if we really want to talk about it here, if you look at the stats, I mean, I don't know exactly, but it was something like 131 landed out of 600 thrown for Kovalev going into the last round. So it's like he was active, but if you look at Canelo, he I think he thrown 330 or something like that and landed about the same. They were landing the same, but Kovalev threw twice as many
But we've
strikes.
got somebody throwing it like 20%
Yeah.
or lower, and
Yeah.
somebody landing. I mean, at
Well, it was like
50%.
no, it was like
These
40ish.
numbers.
Yeah. But the point
So,
is,
You're thinking he won the rounds with a lot of missed punches.
well, he won the rounds with activity because
Yeah.
Canelo was kind of picking his shots more, whereas Kovalev was keeping him on the outside with the jab and not really giving him a chance to come in, tying him up a lot. He also got away with a lot of like weird elbow and shoulder strikes. He got warned about it, I think, in the 8th round by the ref that if he landed another one that he was going to take a point. But so like they'd get into these tie-ups, and Canelo was so much smaller than him. When he'd lean into him, he'd hit him with like a shoulder or like an elbow, just because, not that he was throwing an elbow or a shoulder, but him being so much the bigger man, if he charges forward and gets on his level, he's gonna elbow or shoulder him naturally.
Right.
So
Yeah, Canelo's 5'8". He's smaller than both of us.
yeah, it's fucking
Kovalev
crazy.
6
It's
feet
crazy
tall.
that he was able to win this fight, but he looked great. At the end of the
Yeah, he
day.
wins by knockout in the 11th round and knocks him, I mean, halfway
Clean
out.
out,
Of the
yeah,
damn ring.
damn near
He was
knocks him out of the
clean
ring,
out,
yeah. They waved it off.
Hanging
They
out
didn't
right
even
through
count
the
him.
ropes. Yeah, he was clearly fucked up.
Yeah, he was done. Remember,
There was
it
no
took him
dispute in that
took him a minute to get up.
Yeah,
Canelo's
it's
a
not the
savage.
result I expected at all.
Yeah, not at all.
I
Did
feel like
not
Canelo will
see.
likely win, but
Did not see.
I wouldn't have been
Yeah,
surprised
did
if he
not
lost.
see Canelo knocking him out.
Yeah, yeah, that's he had some
That was
idiotic
great.
questions though. I gotta say, they're pretty hilarious questions after the fight, with people actually asking Canelo if he's going to continue to move up in weight to
Yeah,
not
it's
just
crazy.
light or not just cruiserweight, but heavyweight as well, which is
Nuts.
ridiculous. He's
Nuts.
5'8", folks.
Unless
He
he
barely
just
got up here.
like, unless he just got yacked like on the freaking, just headed
Be
down,
like
got on
Hyman
the.
good.
Yeah, he'd have to be
Yeah,
huge. And he's already pretty fit, man.
yeah. He's
Dude, it's
silly
crazy. It's
questions
crazy
that
to me.
reporters ask, but
It's crazy to me that Canelo's not the number one pound for pound fighter in the world right now. Like he has fought the most diverse number of opponents. He's beat everyone except one person.
and like who's the ring got up there? They got what, Lomachenko.
Yeah,
at first,
Lomachenko
right?
and Bud Crawford in front of him. But like, what signature wins does either of those guys really have that Canelo doesn't? Canelo's beat everybody in every weight class. Yeah, you can say now that like his middleweight title that he could still fight like Callum Smith, and there's other champions there he could have fought instead of taking this Kovalev fight. But if we're talking about a guy who is legitimately the pound for pound champion, we're talking about a guy who's down to fight anybody at any weight class at
Right.
any time. And it seems to me like Canelo is that guy, and he's able to win whenever he steps in there.
Absolutely, I agree with everything you're saying, man.
Like, cause I mean, hate to say it, but like, Bud Crawford's a great fighter, but he still hasn't even fought the best guys in his own weight class.
Right.
Like, if you want to look back at Canelo's real weight class at welterweight, he's pretty much fought everybody except Manny Pacquiao, maybe. But now there's all these younger guys that he could go down and fight, but he's just not that weight anymore. So you can't count that against him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like now he's naturally changed his body to fight at these higher weight classes. We're gonna see him fight. I think he's just fighting where the money's at this point. And for legacy too, because this is a huge fight for his legacy for fucking 5 different weight classes. It's nuts.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
nuts.
Well, you know what he is. He's a bad motherfucker.
He is a bad motherfucker.
Speaking of bad motherfuckers, I think that we can just transition from that right into the BMF showdown we had. That the Canelo fight was delayed, actually. A smart move on their part and DAZN's part. Or DAZN, I forget what it is. I canceled that shit. DAZN's part by delaying it till after the BMF title fight that the UFC was doing. Because I don't think there's much else on that card worth talking about. But kudos to Canelo for coming through.
hell
He's
yeah.
absolutely a bad motherfucker.
He's a savage.
He won't get the belt, though. Jorge Masvidal's got that belt now. You know, start off with...
In a
with
somewhat
that.
anticlimactic way as well.
Controversial at the time. In retrospect, is losing some of that
It's
controversial
losing the
nature.
steam, yeah.
Because I admit last night, or excuse me now, a couple nights at this point, after watching it, it was very disappointing. I was upset that it was stopped by the doctor. I tweeted about that being some bullshit.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't look that bad inside the cage. But then some pictures came out subsequently of Nate's eye where he's got a large amount of stitches. I mean,
Yeah, dude, he's got something like, looking about like 20-some stitches across his eyebrow.
And then he's got more across the bottom of his eye as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It gets a doctor stoppage. Nate said he was good to go. He looked fine. The doctor smiled, walked away, and then waved it off. Everybody was like, what the fuck?
I mean, it sucks,
It sucks, but he was
but
losing the fight.
he was very, very much getting beat down.
No, he said he was waiting until the 4th and the 5th, and he is known as a fighter to do that. Like a little devil's advocate. And it's not his fault. Like, Dominic Cruz was kind of pissing me off after the fight, because I know what he was trying to do. He's trying to save face for the UFC. It's his job in the broadcast booth as a UFC employee. But he was trying to say, like, well, Nate should have known that he could have got stopped on cut, so he should have fought harder because of that cut. Because we got to worry about a doctor stoppage, trying to, like, act like that's a concern. Like, that's not an active concern in MMA. They get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. He's right to a certain extent.
This ain't boxing, though.
Well, no, but here's the thing. He's right to a certain extent because if, as a fighter, you need to be aware of where you're at physically as well as where you're at in the fight. if you're getting beat down, like you know who you are, Nate Diaz. You know you cut easily. If you're getting fucked up and you have a huge cut on your brow, you got to be able to. I think part of it is on kind of Nate. Looking back on it, because the this is I think it's partly of what happened in the conversation between the doctor and Nate Diaz, because I feel like there was like a breakdown in communication there. It was like he was trying to check Nate, and it seemed like Nate didn't want to do any of the tests or anything, and he was just kind of like, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. And I think maybe as a like ringside physician, the guy's probably thinking like, oh, he's like refusing to get, the basic bullshit, how many fingers am I holding up, whatever the fuck, on his eye, and he's trying to get me out of here. I'm going to wave the fight off. I think looking back at the footage of it, like it looked like the doctor was like trying to be like run the test on him, and Nate was just like, get the fuck out of here. And maybe he took that as, I'm stopping this fight if he won't, you know what I'm saying? There's been people who insert themselves into these kind of fights, and I think this is a possibility of what happened last night.
It's possible. It's pretty speculative, but it could be. But I have a hard time blaming the fight. He doesn't know how bad his own cut is on his own face.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not blaming Nate. I'm just saying anytime you you cut easily, there's a chance you could get stopped. So I feel like when a physician comes in, just run through the test. It doesn't matter if you're going to pass him. You know you're going to pass him if you're fine. So why not just run through the bullshit? I know your adrenaline's running and you're trying to get back in there and you feel like you got him where you want him. But also, why not just take the steps of what the doctor wanted to get done, not wave him out of the way, and just get going after that?
Do we know that's what happened for sure?
No, that's just a speculation by me. I'm just saying, just because it seemed like the physician ran in and was like, let me see your eye, let me see your eye. And he's like, get the fuck out of here, basically.
I heard him say, I'm fine.
He's like, I'm fine, get out of here. And it's like, 100% I agree with him. He probably was fine. He probably could have continued. But I think there's a way to handle that if you're okay and you're fine. You're just like, whatever, just do it. Let's go. Come on. I got to get going. But let's run through the quick bullshit test he was going to do or how he was going to look at his eye and then get the fuck out of there. Because if you really think about it, if you're talking about stopping a fight, the way Nate's cuts were, they were not. The difference between a fight that should be stopped and a fight that shouldn't be is when you have a cut like that. If there's swelling included with the cut, is usually when you stop a fight.
Look at Donald Cerrone versus Tony Ferguson, which was Cerrone's eye was completely swollen shut during the fight. Literally, when the doctor was standing in front of him, he could not see out of his right eye.
Yeah.
And of course, he's going, I'm fine.
Yeah,
but clearly, you can't see out of one eye. No, this is obvious. In that regard. But Nate, at the time when that blood was, he wasn't even bleeding. I mean, I disagree with the stoppage. I think that possibly, I'm not saying Nate was winning. I think it was likely he was going to continue to lose, and it was likely that cut would have got way worse, and it's quite possible it would have been stopped later in that round because of that cut getting way worse.
I think they should have given him a chance.
It's the goddamn baddest motherfucker title.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're talking 100%. About you got a boo-boo on your face, so I'm not going to let you fight anymore.
We have to understand as well that you chose to do this fight in New York, which is notorious for bad shit happening like this in their commission. If you wanted the real BMF title, you should have done it in Las Vegas, where no one gets stopped by doctors in Las Vegas. It doesn't happen, dude. They don't stop fights like that in Las Vegas. They're too seasoned. Yeah. They're too seasoned as far as a commission to stop a fight like that. New York's had, don't get me wrong, New York's had some of the biggest fights in Madison Square Garden, but they've never had big MMA events like that.
They make rookie mistakes every time, and it's only getting worse. That's another thing I tweeted about in the aftermath of that fight, because it's like, come on. Every time we got some bullshit.
Michael Chandler, same shit. When Michael Chandler, remember when his nerve went out?
Yeah.
And they told him his leg was broken and they stopped the fight. It's like, okay, well then that also happened in the UFC where Henry Cejudo had his leg buckle like that and the ref didn't stop the fight. They let it continue. His feeling came back in his leg and he went on to beat the greatest fighter of all time possibly. So it's like
it's some shenanigans in New York.
New York's trash. Yeah. As you wear a Buffalo shirt.
No, it just happens to be a UFC shirt. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, I get if you're a fighter and you you have a lot of history like Nate does. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a part of him that wants to fight in historic MSG because of the history behind it.
Yeah.
But not only are they a fucking a, a commission that makes a lot of rookie mistakes and silly fucking things, shenanigans every time, but the tax rate, these fighters are getting jacked on their fucking winnings out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, Jesus, dude, you could get paid the same amount of money, fight here in Vegas, and you're gonna take home a hell of a lot more cash.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So like you're risking,
And you're not
going
going
to
to deal with the bullshit commission.
Yeah, man.
Or think about it. He had the same cut in California. They didn't even check him in that fight. The doctor didn't even step in at any point in the Anaheim fight.
Right.
So, I don't know, man. It sucks. It sucks. I'm the saddest motherfucker in the game. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Will they run it back? Hopefully.
Well, Dana's
But-
shitting all over that already.
But I would like it. I would like it this way. If they're gonna run it back, let Masvidal go win the title and run it back for the welterweight title.
Look, here's something brutally honest that just kind of popped into my head, and Nate Diaz is then Nick, my favorite fucking. Not my favorite. You know, your favorite fighters always kind of alternate.
They have like a
they're
cult.
in it, both of them. Like, I love those two motherfuckers.
Yeah, they're good.
But the truth is, in one way, if you're gonna lose and you're Nate Diaz, it's best to lose when you can produce a Nate Diaz excuse, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the Diaz brothers have an excuse every time they fucking lose. That's just part of the. Everybody knows that if you're a hardcore fan, you know they always talk that shit. I didn't really lose. It was this bullshit.
Yeah.
I didn't get beat. It was this bullshit that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And now he can say I didn't get beat. It was this bullshit that happened. I mean, maybe that plays into something with that. If you're gonna fucking lose, at least you can pull that excuse. They love to pull.
They do, but I feel like it's more of a competitive thing. It's like they refuse to lose. Yeah.
But now he is. In his mind, he didn't lose. It was this bullshit that happened, and now
And to some extent, he's right, I guess, because like, yeah, he could have turned the tide, but then it also could have been fucking 2 more rounds of a beatdown where he could have got hurt bad.
Yeah.
Masvidal, we were talking about this a little bit before the show.
Let's shift focus. Let's talk about Masvidal.
Well, here's the thing. We were talking about this a little bit before the show. I've never seen somebody gain power and speed throughout their career at this age. Like, I've never seen this before. This is what Masvidal has done in the last years. Literally unheard of. There's never been just somebody who's took step away for like a year from a professional sport and then goes on to come back, and usually they come back and their tools are better, their techniques are better, their actual their actual fight IQ is better. But in this case, it seems like Masvidal's come back and his speed and power is better than it was when he left. It's weird. I've never seen it before. And he's not like he's on the juice or something.
Yeah,
he's a small guy.
And he's jacked or something.
Yeah.
He's just
came back and his hair was long.
right.
like that's literally the only difference. Like he came back and he reincarnated Street Jesus, you know? And he's baptizing motherfuckers. Unfortunately, he almost baptized Nate in the first round, dude. I was so fucking surprised. When he dropped Nate in the first, it was crazy, dude. And hit him with that, he head kicked him, dude. I thought he'd put him out. When he head kicked him, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's shit.
Because that's Nate's fucking kryptonite, is that head kick.
So, where does Masvidal go from here? Because his stock's never been higher. I mean, he is going to be a household name.
He already is.
That he already was, but now in a
Yeah.
whole new sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I almost feel bad for Nate in a way because he went and created this BMF shit, but Masvidal's going to reap these benefits off of it.
They weren't instant, though, because the initial reaction from the crowd and the people at home was where to boo.
Yeah, and he wasn't having that booing either.
Yeah,
he was like, fuck you, don't boo me. I ain't the doctor.
Yeah.
Boo me, you can come see me after the show. You're going to have a line of fucking 600 people.
Fucking handing out 3 pieces, dog. No sodas.
3 pieces and no sodas. He's too busy. But, I mean, are they going to rush him into a title shot? Did they hope that Colby wins? And
well,
then
he
they
said
get the Colby Masvidal fucking
in the post-fight press conference, it said he's had some hand issues he's been dealing with for the last 3 months and was actually going to take time off after the Ben fight because he had hand issues, and then the UFC gave him this huge opportunity and he couldn't turn it down. So he said that if something were to fall out and he had to fill in next month, he would. But at the end of the day, he'd much rather take about 4 to 6 months off and deal with his hand.
Well, that's smart on his part because it lets the Colby Usman fight play out and any aftermath that might be associated with it and leaves him sitting pretty.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Nate, as far as what's next for him, he seemed in pretty good spirits at the press conference, honestly.
Yeah, but he needs some time off as well.
But he needs time off. That face has got to heal up.
It's got him.
Even if it looks healed on the surface,
He's
it's
right,
not
though.
necessarily healed
Someone
underneath.
sneezes on him, he's bleeding.
Yeah. He's always got the Conor fight sitting
Yeah,
there
it's
in the
always
pocket. I mean, unless they both really fuck that up somehow.
Until about 10 minutes before we started here, Conor was silent until this morning he decided to tweet out he would like a 3-piece and a soda from Burger King. Extra salt, please.
With some chicken, too. I don't know. I don't know if Conor really wants to fuck with Jorge Masvidal, to be honest.
I don't think it's a smart idea.
I mean, there's
Jorge
a size
Masvidal,
difference there.
yeah.
Masvidal's a bigger dude. And that plays into effect when you have similar skill sets and similar skill levels. Sometimes it just comes down to size.
But let's be
Masvidal
honest.
could come in and might fuck him up. I don't
Who's
know.
ever knocked Conor out?
Nobody. I'm not saying. I don't know. I would.
Because let's even look at it this way. Conor's been hurt by like people. Like Khabib hurt him bad. But then Khabib continued to literally pound him for like 2 minutes straight, laying punches on his chin the whole time, and never once put him out.
Yeah, he's got
Because-
a big ass fucking hard head.
And then, like, literally, and same thing. Even Floyd, when he was completely gassed, didn't put him out. Nate, when he was completely gassed, didn't put him out. Like, there's, like, let's just, if we're just being honest here, like, yeah, George might beat Conor, but I don't think he, like, KOs him. Like, if he KOs him, it's a TKO, but I don't see anybody literally sleeping Conor. I've never seen it. It can happen, I guess, but we've never seen it.
I mean, could Conor win that fight? Probably. It depends.
It depends.
on
The
Conor.
timeline, let's be honest. Let's say he goes and he fights fucking, I don't know. Let's say he goes and fights Cowboy next. What if they make that fight at 170 instead of 155 for him to get his body right, and then he takes that 6 months that George is taking, gets his body right, and then fights George at 170 pounds. I think that's a way bigger fight than any title fight for George at 175.
Yeah.
170
absolutely.
pounds. Fuck Colby and fuck Usman. Honestly, they're good fighters, but they're not really going to put the money up that George wants to make than a Conor fight would.
Dude, it's set up pretty perfect for the Conor fight for this. If they play it out like that, I'd much rather see the Conor get acclimated to the weight difference.
Yeah, I'd like to see him and Cowboy fight at 170.
Yeah,
That would be smart.
that would be better.
If he really wants to do this,
You know, Conor's hungry. I mean, he's got all the skills in the world. He could go in there. He could fuck up Jorge Masvidal if he was centered and focused. He doesn't have to worry about the wrestling. I mean,
yeah.
the fights that he loses to wrestling. I mean, the
Let's
boxing
just
shit
be
don't
honest
count.
here. Literally, what happened last night was him and Nate did the second fight, but it got stopped instead of seeing what happened in 4 and 5.
Yeah,
Because literally, if you look at it, in the first fight, in the second fight, Conor literally dropped Nate 4 times in the first round,
yeah,
dropped him in the second, the third round, almost dropped him. Nate had a little bit of success, just like last night, and Nate was a bloody mess, and Conor was gassed. And going into the fourth is when Nate started doing well. And then if you look at last night's fight, George dropped Nate, twice in the first round. Second round, drops him again. Third round, I think he rocked him. I don't remember if he dropped him. And then Nate had success at the end of the third round. And going into the corner into the third round, everyone cannot deny George had this look on his face that he looked kind of frustrated that Nate wasn't going away. Because he was hitting him with every big shot he could. Obviously, these are all takes by me on this fight.
So Conor.
I feel like
circling back to that.
I feel like the Conor second fight and George, the first 3 rounds are very similar.
Yeah,
What happens in fourth and fifth, unfortunately, we'll never know with George and Nate. But I think there's a good chance that George and Conor fight now.
That's the biggest fight for both of them now.
Both of them, yeah.
It's way bigger than him getting the winner of Colby versus Usman if he's just looking to get paid.
Yeah.
That title fight doesn't go anywhere.
And that
If
title
he beats
does.
Conor, he definitely gets that title
Yeah.
fight after that.
And they make a new title, the Money Belt. 'Cause that's the biggest money fight in UFC history, possibly. We got
Well, didn't they say that they were going to make some announcement of a new
some other belt, yeah.
Oh, God, it could be the money belt.
Dude, what if it's the Money Belt, dude, and it's Conor versus George? And I ain't talking about St. Pierre, dog.
Oh, that'd be some shit.
That'd be the biggest pay-per-view ever.
That would be pretty sick.
It'd be the biggest pay-per-view in UFC history if you had Conor McGregor versus George Masvidal. 100%. Without a doubt. If Conor McGregor comes back January 18th and were to beat someone like Cowboy at 170 pounds, acclimates his body, and then on International Fight Weekend, him and George Masvidal fight, and they stack the whole card, it will be the biggest pay-per-view in UFC history.
Yeah, you're right. It would. And I would much rather see that. We've said this a million times. I don't want to dive into it, but I don't want to see him at 155 versus Khabib. That's cool. I'll pass. I don't really care to see him fight for the title at 170 either.
Yeah, pass. Both those guys will just maul him.
The other fight makes a lot more sense. I had envisioned it being Nate that was going to get the victory, and then of course Conor being the obvious choice.
Yeah.
So,
but don't get me wrong though. I don't think if Nate really wants to be competitive, I don't think he's really out of it in this division. I could very well see him fighting the loser of Colby and Usman.
they might do that. Yeah.
And I could see him being very competitive with either one. Possibly beating both of them, I think. I think he could beat Colby if he's healthy, and Usman would be a challenge. I mean, don't get me wrong, Colby's tough, but I think overall Diaz is just going to be there the whole time just like Colby is, but I think his style negates Colby's strengths. You know, because Colby
You don't
kind
think
of
Colby's wrestling will be too much for him?
no, because I don't think
either.
Colby does enough when he's on top to really get Nate uncomfortable and stop him from possibly using his defense as offense. You know what I mean? I could see Nate using his jiu-jitsu if Colby were to try to take him down. Last night I was George was scaring me there for a second because when he was in Nate's guard and you saw Nate start to climb his body when George was getting a little wild in the strikes, I was like, dude, you got to watch out. Nate's got a nasty triangle, and he was trying to set it up because George kept like trying to open the guard up a little bit and throw big strikes, and Nate was just like, creeping his legs up his body more and more, and I thought he was going to go for it. He should have, honestly. It would have just, been that next thing. That was a good fight, man.
It was a good fight. Too bad it got
But
stopped
George was
early,
very
but
dominant.
Still a good fight. George is dominant though. Well, let's move on to the next fight that was down the card. We can kind of go over. There was just so many big fights on the card.
This is honestly the only fight of the card that wasn't that crazy.
Kelvin Gastelum versus Darren Till making his debut at 185. Gastelum coming off the loss to Israel Adesanya.
Darren Till coming
Darren
off
Till comes
back-to-back
the-
losses.
Yeah, to last one to Masvidal.
And then
Till gets the win. Decision. Split decision.
split decision, but
But
in
a bullshit
a
one.
bullshit split
I mean,
decision. He very, very
ridiculous.
well won that fight at every round.
It was not close.
You know what it was? It was a case of a guy in Darren Till who'd come off some shaky performances where he got wild, went against a game plan, and got put away. And this was just a case of a guy who stayed packed with the game plan for all 15 minutes of the fight and then got the win because he was just never deviated. It was
Yeah, he stayed on point.
keep him on the outside, beat him up with the leg kicks. If he comes in and tries to throw the big shots, grapple with him, allow him to push you on the cage, but then reverse him every once in a while. And then when you break, once again, circle to the outside towards the hurt leg, hit him with leg kicks, same thing, over and over. And he stayed packed the whole time, and he hit him with the bigger shots, and he won the fight.
I don't know how much of this is just editing because it's UFC embedded, so who knows? So this is just opinion here that could be wrong because, like I said, we only know what the UFC cameras decide to show us.
Yeah.
And the little bit that we see in like press conferences and whatnot with these fighters. But I kept getting the impression watching that he just didn't seem to be taking this fight super seriously.
No, not at all.
Kelvin Gastelum, I mean.
Yeah, not at all.
Like, it seemed to be a lot of joking around and good times and smiles, and like Darren Till wasn't a
Talking
real
about
fucking
he was going to
killer.
knock him out in the first round.
And Till was dead serious. I mean, Till talked afterwards about how he was like legit terrified, you know, like he was taking this extremely seriously. And Kelvin just seemed to be kind of...
Here's the thing, though. It's not that he was terrified of Kelvin.
No,
he was
but
terrified
of the
of what his
situation, the
career has
stakes.
become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knows he fucking loses 3 in a row.
And on the biggest
Dude.
stage, in the biggest card, with the like, I guarantee you, unless some crazy shit happened, last night was probably the biggest card of the year, sales-wise.
You think it's going to outdo the December 4th? Yeah, well, yeah, probably is going to outdo the December 4th.
Yeah, for sure. So let's say if Darren Till last night went out there and got slept by Kelvin Gastelum because he got, did some stupid shit, then we're talking a whole different story. We're talking about at 26 years old, where's Darren Till go from there?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
out of the UFC maybe with his 3 straight fucking losses.
But
It
how
could
can you
happen,
say that? Because those 3 straight losses are to the champion.
I'm
the
just
num-
saying there would be
hold
that
on, hold on.
talk.
But here's
I'm
the
not
thing,
saying
though.
that's
Here's
what
the thing,
should
though.
be.
The way his losses have aged are ridiculous. Because we're talking about he lost a title fight, and then he lost to Jorge Masvidal, who is literally the fighter of the year,
Yeah.
who's literally the number 1 contender. And then we're talking about a guy with Kelvin Gastelum, who's coming off a title fight as well, who is a number 1 contender. So how, although you are right, someone on a 3-fight losing streak in any organization would be threatened to be released, you could not really count those losses against his legacy if he were to lose last night.
Well,
Yes.
luckily that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So we don't even.
So
need to worry
I just
about
feel
it.
like
he saved his fucking. He
did,
took his
yeah,
moment
he
to
saved
shine.
it.
He saved
He
the
saved it.
He did a 180 on the path that he was going.
Oh
on.
yeah, 100%.
And fucking. He needs to be careful in his next fight. I don't think they need to rush him into a title shot. Like Chael Sonnen's out there saying that he earned a title shot, and I couldn't
strange,
disagree
though.
more. I don't think so.
He kind of
but
did though, because
maybe
it's
because the
not.
division is
Yeah,
fucked.
that's what I'm saying. Not that his performance was
Yeah, I got the
outrageously
Sour
good.
Banana Sherbet
It's
on here.
the fact that he just beat the best guy coming off a title shot, and your number 1 contender's hurt, and the guy beneath that, no one really has seen him. I don't know, Hermanson. I honestly like. You kind of got to give it to Hermanson also. Like, Hermanson is, or not Hermanson. Sorry, Cannonier.
Cannonier. Yeah.
Cannonier is fucking
That's
on
a good fight.
tear.
Till should fight Cannonier.
No, I'm talking about Cannonier should probably get the Israel fight next.
Now the Costa's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're calling for it to go to Romero, but I mean, Romero is technically coming off the
You
loss.
see that video of Romero?
No, I don't watch
It's hilarious.
Romero's videos. he's a little cringy for me.
He said, "Why you say I see you, boy? You tell Dana White, you give me my fucking date."
I don't think Jesus likes the F word.
Fucking Yoel, dude. He's
funny.
scary.
He is scary.
He's just like he's like that old man sitting on the porch that you don't want to fuck with. Like the fuck up off his lawn, dude.
Before he beats you physically. Oh yeah, this is good weed. I like this stuff. It's like it's.
You know what nobody's talking about?
What's that?
You know who Darren Till should fight next? If you really want to talk about how good is he and where is he in this division, fight Robert Whittaker next.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Everyone's kind of count Robert Whittaker out, but he's also said he wants to turn around generally pretty quick.
That's a fight that makes some sense.
Because he's without a dance partner for sure.
Is
Unless
he
you're
injured?
going
He
to.
didn't get injured in that fight. So
No,
he's
he
good
just
to
got
go.
stopped.
Yeah, that's actually a good fight. They should do that.
Maybe, unless he's possibly waiting for Paulo Costa.
maybe. As far as Gastelum goes, I mean, who knows what's next here? He's coming off, 2 losses now. I don't know if that's happened in his career before, not to my recollection.
No, he was undefeated until he fought Woodley, and then he won, and then he lost to Weidman, and then he hasn't lost since then.
Yeah, he's going to have to reevaluate some things. But he technically came in, it would seem, slightly heavy for this fight.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this for a second.
Fucking towel trick.
Let's talk about this for a second. Just because, let's just break this down for people. Just psychologically. Because, like...
Not everybody might not know what we're talking about.
Okay, so Kelvin Gastelum, on weigh-in day, comes in with the towel.
Yeah.
Which means that there's... Okay, so to make 185 pounds, you can actually make it at 186 pounds. You get a 1 pound allowance. So, that being said, if you come in and you're really close to the limit, you could go down.
Off,
you could go down.
Naked, get behind the towel.
Yeah, get behind the towel and
Pray to
weigh
God
in.
you're under 186.
Exactly. So, Kelvin Gastelum does this, correct?
He's naked on the scale.
Naked on the scale. Towel wrapped around him. And he weighs in at 184 pounds. 2 pounds under the limit.
While at the same time holding his elbows up. The commission told him to hold his hands up above the towel. So he holds his hands above the towel and he leans in on Rafael Cordero. You can see him leaning in on his coach.
Yep.
Who's holding a towel. Which is basically the towel trick Daniel Cormier did. Instead of leaning on the towel, though, he's leaning on his coach. Which just might be enough to do what? Hoping he's
shed a
going to
couple
shift
pounds
a
off.
fucking ounce or two, but he winds up shifting a couple pounds or two because that's really sensitive, actually.
Yeah.
And that works surprisingly well. I remember there was a bunch of people testing that shit.
And for people and for anyone out there who thinks that, oh, you're wrong, that didn't happen, like he was good, he's actually getting disciplined by the New York State Athletic Commission.
Yeah, the New York State Commission was like, wait, you pulled shenanigans.
They called it, and they said that he was indeed leaning on the coach, and he's going to be disciplined for it. So, with that being said...
Again, I got to point to some incompetence here. Why didn't you take care of that at the weigh-in and just been like, dude, you have another hour to fucking weigh in or whatever?
Weigh in the correct way. Let's see where you're at. You have another hour.
Because on one hand, I want to be like, okay, good. They caught some shenanigans instead of pulled some.
Yeah, but he probably was like exactly on if you really think about it.
Yeah, it's pretty shady. He suddenly weighs in technically
2 pounds under. Yeah, butt naked. Like, what, you just wanted to show up butt naked, dude? Is that what you wanted? Like...
Yeah. And then just
strange
have to lean
situation.
on the coach at the same time. So
lean on.
Whatever. He got away with it, sort of, kind of. He's still getting disciplined in some way.
For sure.
But what's next for him is, I guess, a trip back to the drawing board, and we'll see what shuffles out in the UFC deck. I
mean, once again, though, we're talking about a guy who no easy fights for. There's no easy fights at middleweight right now. Everyone's a fucking killer. So it's just who do you want to fight first is really what you got to think. It's not who do you want to fight, because everyone's going to end up having to fight everybody when you think about middleweight right now, because in the last year or so, we've had a lot of new names that we didn't have before show up in this division. So now you got to look at, we'll even look back a year ago with this podcast, we were talking about middleweight, everybody's already fought everyone. So there's really nothing to think about. Yeah, but now we're looking at it, and this entire division is filled with new names. So now everyone has to fight everybody still. So I think everyone's going to run into everyone eventually. It's going to be more a question of who do you want to fight next and when do you want to fight them.
There's some youngsters on the come up in this division now, too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, things are shaking out.
Hell yeah. So let's move on to the next fight. That was fight of the night on this card. That was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fighting Vicente Luque, this fight was great. I liked it a lot.
Wonderboy looked really good.
He did.
He dished out.
He didn't look very good in the first round, though. Luque comes out and Luque came out and he almost finished him in the first.
Did. I thought he was going to lose.
I thought he was going to finish him at the end of the first when he hit him with that big right hand and Wonderboy stumbled on the cage. I was like, oh fuck, again. Because honestly, if you really want to talk about Wonderboy, it's not that his skills have ever diminished. It's not that his speed or his power's ever diminished. It's really just been his chin. because like
Well, that comes with age too.
it does,
I mean, he's a
100%.
welterweight, and he's got a lot of wear and tear. He's not much in the UFC, but the dude has
He's
80 kickboxing,
75-0.
75-0 as a kickboxer. I mean, he has a
Yeah,
lot of
he's
fights.
a lot of karate fights.
I think I saw his dad say that this was like their 90th fight or something like that, like across all mediums. Like that's a lot of wear and tear.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He's 35 or 6, which he's
37.
not a heavyweight, so yeah, it's his chin, man.
Yeah.
Totally. And not that he got KO'd or anything, or he
Well, no, he's fought some of the best in the world, and
shook.
he's got fucking shook by everybody.
I mean, and then Pettis got him, but
Yeah.
that was a crazy fucking.
Woodley
Superman.
almost got him twice.
Wonderboy
So-
looked good though. He gets the win.
Yeah, he comes back.
batters fucking Luque.
But here's the thing, though. I don't think Luca's stock dropped at all last night. I think it actually got even better there.
Yeah, he looked good in the loss too.
Yeah, because he was in there with a guy who was nobody can time, and he was able to he was so close to stopping him. It was
I
ridiculous.
don't know how old he is, but he's got some.
Luque's only
done.
27, I think, 28.
He's still got a few
Something
years,
like that.
so he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he's ain't going nowhere soon. And he's already fought a lot of these guys. Like he's fought Leon Edwards. So like he's fought some of these guys. So it'd be I wonder how much intel he's already got, you know.
One to keep an eye on for sure.
For sure.
Dude, we saw Derek Lewis make a comeback after his knee surgery.
Yep, he looked
As
pretty
well
good.
on this card. He looked
Dude.
pretty good fighting. Just
Bulgoy Ivanov.
Ivanov is a tough son of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Derek Lewis was in some trouble here and a few times, like that fucking weird arm fucking key lock.
I thought
thing
he was
trying
gonna
do.
get subbed to that fucking.
He
that
was just
arm
like the whole
lock,
time he's like,
that
I'm
fucking
good, I'm good,
Kimura.
I'm good.
Yeah, his arm looked all.
It was
fucking
strange
crazy.
though. It was weird. It was like Derek Lewis went to the ground, would like let him sink these submissions in, and like right before he had the possibility to finish him, he would just do this crazy power out, push him off and move, come back to his feet and hit him with fucking hammers,
That's
dude.
exactly what he did.
Like
Yeah,
every
it was
round,
wild.
it was weird. It was the hardest fight to score because it was like Derek Lewis would get taken down. He'd get him in like a crucifix position, put in a Kimura, like just about when he's gonna turn it to like finish the fucking submission, possibly break his arm. He just fucking come out, hit him with a fucking flying
Yeah,
knee,
burst up
4
like fucking
haymakers.
Superman.
Yeah,
Throw him off and start wailing on him.
yeah, it's
And
crazy.
Fucking dude, old boy's chin is so tough. He wasn't. I mean, I don't know how he was taking those punches and not going out. But
Did he get dropped in the third, or did he get dropped?
I don't think he got.
He was
Well, he
dead.
got
He
knocked
got.
down.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he
Okay.
got knocked down, like stumbled down.
Yeah.
Not like a clear like.
Yeah. But
It's hard
he
to
hit him
remember.
with some
He-
big fucking shots, dude.
Dude, he was winging. Derek Lewis was winging. But importantly, I thought Derek Lewis looked pretty good though. He had patience.
Yeah.
He didn't rush a lot of things. He didn't get winded. He kept his fucking
Kept
his
his
cardio
cool.
under
Yeah.
control, which they said they've been working on.
Yeah.
He
Joe
kept his
Rogan was
cool.
constantly talking about the whole fight. He was just like, wow, this is so much different than what we've seen before from Derek Lewis. He just looks like a professional.
Yeah, yeah. And
It was before like Derek Lewis was more of just like a guy who was trying to make some money and he was trying to go out there and make some interesting fights to make some money. Now it looks Derek Lewis has become a guy who's a well-rounded professional fighter who knows that he can make money, but he's going to make more money based on how good he is at fighting.
yeah,
you
he
know?
seems to be taking it a lot more serious. And
And we're talking about a guy
That's a
who's
good move.
still number 5 in the division, and he just beat a guy who I think is 7th.
yeah, I do believe 7th
So,
or 8th, and
yeah.
known for being tough. Like he was on the way. I mean, he was favored.
And
to-
you're talking
to
about Derek
win.
Lewis is a guy who has a win over
I've been
Francis
on
Ngannou, and he's got a chance to really put himself back in the title mix pretty quick here.
Did you hear him say he wants to take Greg Hardy out of the UFC?
Yeah,
If Hardy
which
gets lucky and wins the next week's Moscow event,
I would love to see that fight.
he might take that fight just because he don't like Hardy,
Yeah,
because he wouldn't get nothing from beating him. I mean, other than
would he
a
though?
lot
I
of-
think
I
he
think
would.
he get a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think he
fan
would.
satisfaction.
Yeah.
People will love him even more, but I don't know how much shine.
Well,
he
no,
gets.
he would get something out of it for sure because Alexander Volkov is a really seasoned vet and has been a part of the top 10 of this division for
There's
a.
no way Greg Hardy's beating Volkov. I mean,
That's the thing,
it could
though.
fucking
That's the
happen.
thing.
It's
If he
heavyweight,
does beat Volkov,
Jesus.
it springs him into that mix that if Derek Lewis were to beat him, it just propels Derek Lewis even more
Yeah, you're probably right.
into a possible title shot once DC's
If
gone.
you were to fight him now, he wouldn't get any shine off him. But
Yeah,
if he
no.
beats
But if he
Volkov,
beats Volkov, it
yeah,
sweetens the pot for sure.
for sure. Well, what about, dude, another good fight? I mean, we just kind of run through them because there's so
Yeah,
many, or we're
so
going to
many
be on
great
the fucking
ones.
air for hours. But we got, how about the 155 return of Kevin Lee?
Hell yeah.
Calling out a guy that I was shocked he called out to begin with, Gregor Gillespie.
Who's a
undefeated,
savage, yeah.
Savage, known for his outstanding wrestling
Yeah, and great striking, too.
and great striking. I thought Kevin Lee was
It was
crazy.
a good
in
fucking
this
fight to start the fight too. Like they were going after each other the whole
Yeah,
time, hitting each
one-round
other with
fight.
good jabs. For it being a 1-round fight, Kevin Lee was pretty fucked up in the face too. For like, and what the fuck was on his chest, dude?
Yeah, did he have staph again?
I thought he did, dude. Like, what the fuck was that?
It looked just like another staph
It did.
infection, maybe slightly covered with some makeup, perhaps. I don't know. But
I don't know,
there would've been
but,
a red
back-
knob like that on
yeah.
your fucking chest. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Ingrown hair. I don't know what the fuck that was.
It was a nasty one,
Yeah.
there, buddy.
So,
But anyways,
but
he
back to the
sleeps
fight. He
Gillespie
fucking
with a
slept
head
him with a
kick.
head kick.
Fuck.
It was
Like,
very back and forth though in that first round. Like it was both guys just finding a lot of success, and then fucking just a perfect combination by Kevin Lee to put Gillespie out.
and if people listening don't know, I mean, Gregor Gillespie is a very well-respected wrestler. I mean, what are his
Absolutely,
credentials?
D1. He's D1 champ, national champ.
I mean, he would have been in the Olympics, but for what?
Well, fucking he wrestled on like the world level, but he just wasn't able to break through because he was wrestling in the same weight class as Jordan Burroughs. So that's just what it is.
Go.
And kind of similar, like, you know, the thing is with wrestling is like once you leave college, unless you're Olympic level, there's only so far you can go. You know, like it's really just speaks to like what it means to like when you're a wrestler, because it's like you really gotta love it. You know what I mean? Because like there's really no imminent future in any kind of anything other
Than MMA.
other than MMA or
And that's not.
Yeah,
it's
and
not
that's-
like these MMA fighters.
and there's
get
no
paid
promises there. Yeah.
big. You can make
So
it to
it's
the highest
like
levels. You ain't gonna make shit.
yeah. So
I guess more than wrestling though.
you have to have like a certain like want for to be like the best. You know what I mean?
Dude, speaking of wrestlers and fucking, just a quick aside, I read some shit. The Rock is gonna be in a biopic of Mark Kerr. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you
Yeah,
about.
Yeah, that's fucking dope, dude. That could be good. Like if that's handled right, that could be fucking very good.
He's directing it too.
Oh, I didn't. The Rock is.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, really.
He wrote it, directed it, and he's starring in it. Jackie Moon.
That's a lot. I mean, that can be good. A lot of people can do that. I suppose if anybody can, The Rock could.
Yeah.
As far as action stars, I mean, Stallone does that kind of shit too.
Yep.
But damn, well, Buck. So Kevin Lee gets the big win there. I liked the post fight. He didn't make any crazy title fucking call outs. He just said he wants to have another good solid.
No,
fight under his belt.
you know who he wants. He said after he wants to fight Islam Makhachev.
Well, there you go. That's a tough fight.
I'll fuck with that fight. That's a fight right there.
Yeah.
That's
Fuck yeah.
that's the next guy up. You know. That's Khabib's little brother. He's retiring for, so he can win a title.
Yeah. I'd like to see that. Let's do that, Kevin.
Yeah, I would like
Absolutely.
Kevin Lee for Ozzy Hobby's gym though. We never see Kevin Lee with the. You know what? He took an approach that was very different. You know, he was in there and he was like. He was using his jab, kind of like GSP. You know, he was using his jab to set up his whole game, and it was just so perfect. Like it was much different. It's a much different Kevin Lee than we've ever seen last night.
Like to see him what he looks like next fight when he after continuing to work with Zahabi up there at TriStar.
Yeah.
Fucking seems to be a big improvement already. So
All right, the next one was kind of a strange one. We had Corey Anderson win by TKO over Johnny Walker in a fight that was stopped on the feet in a very. Don't get me wrong, Walker was rocked, but
He was
It was
getting
very
lit up, but he
strange.
was standing there, and then the fight got stopped, and he kept standing there walking towards.
Yeah, and then Corey Anderson fucking snapped down the referee. It was pretty legit.
Yeah, it was a very
It was a
odd
classic
sequence.
wrestling snapdown. I was like, okay, Corey Anderson, dude, what was up with him though? Like he got the TKO win, and then he just like started freaking out. It was weird.
Yeah, he ran around talking shit, ran over to Corey's corner, shushed all of them with the finger.
Yeah, like you mean
Fucking-
Johnny's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say Corey's. Yeah, whatever. Fucking high.
It was very strange.
Yeah, he runs over to Walker's corner, shushes everybody, ran around talking a bunch more shit, and Walker was just like
knocked out.
he-
Ish.
It was weird because I feel like it was a good stoppage, but a bad stoppage at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Because he was getting rocked.
He was getting rocked, but I think he
But-
could have let it go a little bit.
But he
more.
just stood there, like, staring, like, yo, I'm good to go. Like, I'm right here. And he was
Yeah.
just staring at fucking Corey.
Yeah.
It was really weird. But
It's very similar to his last loss. If you look back at Johnny Walker's last loss, it's very similar to it.
well, fucking Corey Anderson went out and made a statement that everybody said he needed to make. Everybody was shitting on him. When I say everybody, I mean people that don't like wrestling and thought his last 3 fights were pretty boring decisions because he's been trying to get that title shot with John Jones. And then he says the UFC told him that he ain't exciting enough and nobody wants to see him fucking fight, so they don't want to put him in there with Jones till he does something special. Then he comes out and does this and talks a whole bunch of fucking shit afterwards.
I'm gonna have a complete opposite take of what you're thinking I'm gonna have. You know, I always take the wrestler's side, but on this side, I can't take Corey Anderson's side because he's just who the fuck is he fought, dude? Like he swears he's like the number one contender, but if you really look back at it, he beat Tim Means or not Tim Means?
No, Patrick
Cummings,
Glover
Teixeira, Alir Latifi, and now
Latifi,
Johnny
and
Walker.
now Johnny Walker. Johnny
Who
Walker's
the fuck cares?
And before that,
This
he
division
lost.
has moved past all those guys.
Yeah, and he lost before that back to back to OSP and to
Jimmy Manawa.
Jimmy Manawa, who's now retired.
And
but
OSP
at the
is not even
at the time he
ranked
fought
anymore.
them, they were the upper echelon.
But that's the thing. He's fought all these guys who were at the upper echelon in the division when
lost.
the division was at its worst, and everyone said it was the worst division in the UFC.
Yeah.
And all these guys that have now inserted their name in this division, he's not fighting them. He's fought Johnny Walker, who's the lowest ranked guy of all the guys who have come into this division.
Yeah,
If
he
you
has
look
a-
at it, he's the lowest ranked guy. He's the only guy who's not in the top 10 in this whole division. Yeah, he's the guy everyone said could possibly knock John Jones out. Sure, who cares? But he's also in the infancy of his career.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck has Corey Anderson fought? Nobody.
Nobody of significance.
Nobody. If you look at Dominic Reyes and all these guys, they fought the Ozdemirs and the actually top 5 ranked guys in this division.
Yeah.
Alir Latifi was ranked 7th when he beat him. Congrats. Alir Latifi is now unranked.
Jimmy Mann was retired.
Jimmy Mana's
OSP is
retired.
unranked.
OSP is. I don't think he's ranked anymore.
Patrick Cummings.
Patrick
is
Cummings
is
is not ranked.
That's who
Yeah,
might be. Is he even in the UFC anymore?
I don't
Is Patrick
think so.
Cummings in the UFC.
possibly, but I can't imagine for any other reason but to be a journeyman.
He's certainly not in the top 15.
Yeah, no way. But here's the thing: is like Corey Anderson's out here swearing he deserves a title shot. But Dominic Reyes, who's actually put together a legitimate resume of guys,
Yeah.
or a guy like, come on, dude, the fuck out of here with that shit. Fight Thiago Santos. Fight someone like that. Fight someone who's in the top 5, who's new in this division, that you claim you're dominating. This is what's wrong with the UFC now. It's not like if you're gonna have this ranking system, fucking use it. Stop making it like make these guys fight. If you want to get up higher in the rankings, you don't get to just have a great showing against the number 11 guy in the division and go, look at that, I'm the number 1 guy now. Like, what does that mean? You're the number 1 guy. You just fucking just showed up the 11th guy ranked in the division. Congrats. Like, go do that
I hear you,
against the
brother.
4th. Go do that against the 3rd.
Absolutely.
Your strength, there's parallels to this in like college football. It's like your strength of schedule matters. Like, like you know what I mean. Like who you fight matters in this sport. And all these people that just put together these win streaks and just swear they deserve a title shot. Who are you fighting?
Can't deny that, my man. For real.
Like for real. All right. Well,
You want to talk about that Brad Tavares Edmund Shabazian fight?
yeah, Edmund
That's
Shabazian
of what's left on this card.
what's
all the fights
next.
were pretty good, but that fight really stood out to me. Brad Tavares came into that fight. I would think he was favored. I don't know. I mean, he's certainly a solid test for a young up and comer like Shabazian. And holy
Dude,
shit, he just got his
Shabazian
ass
fucking
kicked.
smashed him.
Oh my god,
Smashed him.
wow! This kid's gonna be a
Shabazian's
force at
legit.
185.
Yeah.
He is.
Like I was just talking about. This is a guy that maybe, like, this is what's just saying, man. Like, these guys are going to all have to fucking fight each other, man. Like, these guys are all in now. 185 is where the youth is at right now.
He needs he's not ready for any crazy title bullshit now or anything. He just needs a couple more fights. But damn,
He needs a big fight next, though. He needs a
This
he needs a
kid's
top
legit.
10, maybe a top 5 opponent.
I gotta be honest, Paul, man. You know,
I doubted him.
We've
I'm not
seen
gonna
this
lie to
kid
you.
a lot. We sat right next to his family at the Tough finale. I thought that was when I think that was his UFC debut.
Yeah, against the dentist.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to get his ass kicked because who is he with? He's with Edmund Tarverdian, Ronda Rousey's former trainer, the guy who wrecked fucking
Ronda
Travis
Rousey's
Brown.
career and Travis Brown, yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, I'm sorry, but his track record is terrible. I thought this is going to be some other bullshit.
But his
fighter,
own
and I
talent
had
is
no
shining
belief.
through.
But holy shit, I'm a solid believer. Now we've seen him fight. What, is his third or fourth fight in the UFC now?
I think
His third.
fourth. Fourth, yeah, because he beat the dentist, Jack Marshman, and one other guy. Too.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he's a tough
looks
motherfucker. He looks
incredible.
great, yeah. He just schooled
he had that split
him.
decision against Darren Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's
Yeah,
that's the
so-
one decision he's had. Everything else has been a fucking first round finish.
Yeah.
And he had that split decision. I think that might have been the first fight we see.
Yeah, that was the fight we saw him
Yeah.
at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't a believer then either, because I thought honestly he lost.
He was
that
coming
fight.
off the Contender Series.
Yeah, coming off his Contender Series win.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But no, I'm a believer now. God damn.
Yeah, he's a tough
Dude's
motherfucker.
legit.
He's so big too. I think that's like a huge like part of it is like he's got a good frame. Like he keeps good distance and his kicks are fucking powerful. Holy shit. That way he set that kick up with that jab and then just came right behind it and just
He's a very intelligent fighter too.
Hell
That was
yeah.
Beautiful.
and he's got great jiu-jitsu on the other side too.
He does.
He's a
He's
scary
got
guy,
submissions,
dude.
too, not just KOs. So
Yeah.
I think it's just one, but still.
Still.
He's got a recent
It was in the UFC.
Yeah.
like
exactly. So definitely one to keep the eye on. 185, like we've been saying, is looking fucking juicy.
it's just the next man up, you know what I mean? So there's actually one more guy I do want to talk about from this fight. In Rosenstrike. Jardinho Rosenstrike, that's his name.
Yeah.
He's a
last
fuck
episode,
dude.
We
He
couldn't
is
pronounce that.
he's
Damn.
fucking powerful. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
he knocked out Arlovsky, former champ, heavyweight, first round.
He slept him.
Slept
The
him,
first
moving
guy in
backwards,
3 years.
too.
First one to knock Andre Arlovsky out in 3 years. Isn't that crazy to think that Arlovsky hasn't been knocked out in 3 years? The last time someone knocked him out was no one other than Ngannou.
Jesus, man.
Dude, this guy is fucking looking tough. He could be the next Ngannou right here.
He could be. He seems
Imagine
pretty
that.
legit.
Rosenstrike versus Ngannou.
That's looking like that could be a dope fight. Let's see who he gets matched up with next. But
Yeah,
he
he's-
seems legit.
He looks like he's gonna be someone to be reckoned with. So let's talk about next weekend. That kind of wraps up the UFC 244.
Yeah, I mean Lyman Good looked good in his victory over.
Chance for encounter. He fucked him up.
But damn, I just want to ask real quick: how is Lyman Good making that weight? How is he making 170? Did you see how big that?
Oh,
is?
I thought he fought 205. I'm just kidding.
Right. He's 6 feet
Yeah,
fucking
dude, he's
tall.
fucking savage.
You think he's
yeah.
figure he's short, right? Because
Yeah.
you see how big he is.
He's a
fucking
big
6
motherfucker.
feet tall. When he was standing next to Joe Rogan, I was like, Jesus Christ, Joe Rogan's like
Let-
205, 215, something there. Rogan's thick as fuck.
Didn't Askren beat him in Bellator?
I don't know.
I think so.
I think he might have, but Good was, I think he's evolved a bit because, god damn,
yeah.
he has some power.
I don't know though, but he's also coming off like what 2 fights ago he got subbed by Damian Maia pretty quick. So.
Oh, I'm not saying he's ready for a title shot, but I'm like,
Oh yeah, he's a big motherfucker for sure.
like just damn, dude.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
that was a bad motherfucking card, I guess.
let's talk about next card, which is a UFC fight night taking place in Moscow.
Yep. Originally to be headlined by Alexander Volkov versus Junior Dos Santos. But have you seen Junior Dos Santos' nasty ass picture of his leg?
Yeah, he's got a serious staph infection
serious
going on
bacterial
in his leg.
eating fucking leg infection, dude. That shit is
It's
disgusting.
horrible. You can look it up on Instagram.
Don't
folks,
do it
if
if
you
you wanna
really, really
puke.
want to feel gross about things.
Yeah, if you really want to second guess.
Yeah, he's no bullshitting with this one.
Taking a shower.
Not that he ever was. I'm just saying that's a
Yeah.
sick infection.
It's
horrible.
disgusting. So, after Greg Hardy had some unfortunate outcome after his fight last week, didn't really get, damaged at all, and now he is chose to step in on short notice to fight Alexander Volkov in the main event.
A fight that I sincerely hope that he loses in a terrible fashion.
But Alexander Volkov has also notoriously not handled extreme aggression very well. He's able to win the technical striking fights and the fights where he's able to set up his jab and set up his punches behind it. But
If anybody's gonna bully him, and
he's not very good. Yeah, like when Derek Lewis bullied him, it showed a lot of his holes.
Well, we'll see. It's a big spotlight for Hardy. I mean, if he wins here, he's going to earn himself a real fight.
Yeah.
Possibly, like we were mentioning earlier with Derek Lewis.
Definitely going to get a number next to his name if he wins this fight.
I would be shocked. I guess we'll be fucking talking about it if he does. But honestly, I don't hide my disdain. I hope that he fucking loses, and I hope next week we can be like, yep, this fool got exposed.
Well, let's talk about what I really see as the main event of this card. A fight that was supposed to be on the Boston card, but unfortunately had to be rescheduled to Moscow. We got Calvin Kattar versus Z.W.A.T Magomedsharipov. Kattar coming off that KO at Lamos, and Z.W.A.T coming off the win in Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah.
This fight has some serious implications behind it.
Yes, it does. Because shortly after that will be the Max Holloway fight.
And shortly after that, we'll also have the Brian Ortega zombie fight.
And that's going to shake out a lot of these contenders for the next 145-pound title fight.
So let's say one of these young guys goes in there and really puts on a great performance. We could see either one of them having some kind of claim to be in the next guy.
Yeah, we sure could.
Or they should just all fight each other.
I'm liking featherweight a lot right now, too.
It's another one with a lot of youth,
A lot of people think that because of who he is, that Max Holloway is just going to run through Volkanovski because he's just another, Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar style wrestler, puncher. But I think he's going to have his hands fucking full. I think this guy's a bit different than these other fighters because he's built differently. Frankie Edgar's a guy who has always been a small person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mean height-wise. I mean he's never been a big, thick dude. We're talking about Volkanovski's a little bit different because he actually used to be a gigantic fucking guy. He was up with well over 200 pounds. He played fucking rugby. Like, he's fucking was a big fucking dude who now lost a lot of weight, muscle weight, and size, and fights at 145 pounds. And I think that makes his power a little bit different than these other guys have. And I think that if Max isn't careful, he could get fucking slept.
When have we ever seen Max even rocked, though? Like, other than Dustin Poirier, but then, like,
but
even then, was anyone ever worried that he was going to get finished ever then? Not really. It was just like, whoa, he got dropped. So, in all honesty, I don't think...
I'm not putting my money on Volkanovski yet. I'm just saying
the best
I
is
don't
blessed,
think it's going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah, I think Holloway's going to win.
We'll talk about it more as that fight card approaches because it's a hell of a fight card. The December 14th card here in Las Vegas, headlined with 3 title fights and a fucking killer card all the way down. I mean,
well, let's get back to this card though. Let's talk a little bit about these two guys. I mean,
about
Calvin Kattar's a guy who's
Z.W.A.T.
Calvin Kattar's guy who comes in and he's got a lot of hype behind him right now. He's got a lot of power in those hands. He's got crisp boxing, and he's got a strong fucking. He's got a big following behind him on the East Coast. Like that, if this fight were to happen in Boston, that would have been a big moment for him. And unfortunately, it's going to be in Moscow, which means if you're on Zabit's side, yeah, it's going to be a huge moment for him. But what a dog, though, to fucking accept this fight, to go from your hometown to your opponent's hometown.
Absolutely, man.
Well, not necessarily his hometown, but his country.
As close as you can get in this instance, right? I'm going to load up some of these Paris OG French cookies.
So you know what I mean? Like, Calvin Kattar's just one of those guys who's just a fucking dog. And I think he might have his hands full here, because Zabit is an animal. And he's super unpredictable. And he looks for finishes everywhere.
Yeah.
He's looking for a finish no matter where he's at. Whether they're on the feet, on the ground, scrambling, he's always looking to finish.
I'm more excited about that fight than the Hardy fight, just on a skill
Absolutely,
level.
Yeah.
100% agree with you there. I do not really care for how this bud tastes. I got to be honest. This Paris OG French cookie shit, I don't know. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not like the worst weed I've ever had. It's not bad. It's cured good. I don't really care for that fucking taste.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's all right.
It's a little. It doesn't have that.
A little bitter.
Yeah. In a negative way, not like a pleasant. Like we were talking earlier about like a hoppy.
Yeah, no, it's like bitter.
This is like bitter, like umami bitter.
Tastes like plastic. I'm just kidding.
It's not that bad.
I'm just kidding.
But it's not good. It's not like, damn, that's delicious weed. Not even close.
Well,
who do you like? You think Zabit's going to pull it off, or do you think
it's going to go in shocks the world? I think Kattar beats him.
I got to pick Zabit.
By knockout.
Whoa.
Imagine if Kattar knocks Zabit out in Moscow. It'll be like Rocky 5 or whatever it is.
4, yeah,
Rocky 4.
That'd be the shit.
Dude, or if Greg Hardy goes in and knocks out Volkov, because Volkov is like Dolph Lundgren reincarnated in the UFC.
Yeah, but Hardy ain't no fucking American hero. He ain't no Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa would beat the ever-living shit out of Greg Hardy in movie world.
In
fucking movie world, Rocky Balboa would destroy Greg Hardy.
In movie world.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
In this fictitious fucking matchup of a fictional character.
All I gotta say is bring your
villain.
Inhalers, because shit's gonna go down. Imagine he goes 5 rounds. That'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy.
And wins the decision. If he does that, what will you do if he does that? We gotta put something on this.
I will say.
No. We gotta put something on this. We're making a bet here.
You're betting in Greg Hardy's favor, hoping that he wins, so you can take advantage of me and that. What a terrible situation that would be, just for the sporting world in general.
If Greg Hardy wins 50-45, you gotta cut your pinky off.
I'm not gonna agree to that. It's heavyweight 50-45.
50-45.
I gotta cut my pinky off.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a pretty safe bet, honestly. And what do I get if I'm not cutting off my pinky?
You get to keep your pinky.
Things in my favor.
You get to keep the pinky.
10 G's?
No. 10
Your
grams?
car?
What? No.
No, grand. 10,000.
If Greg Hardy loses?
No, if he wins.
Loses,
yeah.
If he loses,
I keep my pinky.
The fuck odds are these? The fuck are these odds?
I lose my pinky. What's my pinky worth in a monetary?
$2.
Oh man, that's terrible. Terrible.
And not even dollars. I'm talking bucks. Jump on my back, bro. I'll buck you twice.
Dude, let's be honest. Greg Hardy's not beating this fucking guy.
Yeah, I don't
It'll
think
be
so.
some Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson fucking.
I don't think that
bullshit.
level. I
He's
think
gonna go in there and get
it'll
some
be
fucking
more.
knockout.
No, it won't be that big of a fucking upset.
Bowl into him and fucking KO him real quick is his only fucking chance.
Yeah, and it could happen.
Smart enough to fucking.
This is MMA, dude. That is
smart
not.
enough
It could happen.
to
Yeah.
have that happen. It's MMA. He's a live dog. But
Volkov is not smart enough. He fucking got hit with the same 1-2
him.
for 3 rounds and then got knocked out with fucking 7 seconds left. How smart is he? not that fucking smart. It very well can happen.
The only reason that I am so suddenly gung-ho on this guy is because he's fighting Greg Hardy, who I hate, and I wish he'd get his ass kicked every time he goes out. So, yeah, I'm saying a lot of bullshit that ain't true about old Alexander, but
Old Alex.
I think he's going to kick his ass. He better kick his ass.
You better.
He better just go out and fucking shame this fool.
Yeah, he's probably going to win. Or he's going to lose 50-45. And Greg Hardy's going to Greg Hardy's going to submit him.
Oh, yeah, with some complicated shit, right?
He's going to hit him with he's gonna hit him with an Imanari roll and fucking get him with a leg lock.
I roll into a leg lock, yeah.
That
Sure.
shit would be funny. Imagine if he did that. I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Greg Hardy's going to be...
Imagine this kid keeps
Dude, if what
winning.
if Greg Hardy beats Stipe?
What if he becomes heavyweight champ and just reigns forever and he goes down as the GOAT of fucking MMA? Greg Hardy. No doubt. He was the best there ever was.
Best on the streets, best in the crib. Fucking Greg Hardy's undefeated in the house, undefeated in the octagon, dude.
He don't take no shit from nobody. Not the bitches.
Dude, he's
not
the
fighters.
intergender champion. Greg Hardy's the
Greg Hardy
intergender
is-
champion,
yeah,
dude.
Fuck Cejudo. He can't even call that shit. Greg Hardy's already won that title. He took that shit off of Floyd, right?
Took that shit off of Floyd.
At least when Floyd fucking beats women, they're fucking... Floyd is a wee man.
Yeah,
And it's like, I would hope they can fight back.
Floyd's their same size.
I'm
Fucking
not excusing Floyd Mayweather, but he's a piece
No,
of shit, too.
he's a
I'm just
piece of
saying...
shit.
Like, I had someone ask me the other day, like, well, you don't seem as mad. Like, you watch Floyd and Conor. You weren't bitching about Floyd's wife beating all the time. Well, you're right.
I was.
But I was pretty steady. We talked about it in the lead up to it on this show. But I feel Greg Hardy's is worse because he's 265 pounds and like 6 foot.
Well, have you ever
He's
read
a
like the
giant.
details of his like?
And this girl's like
shit?
tiny.
Yeah, have you ever seen the
Like-
pictures and shit? He beat her up pretty bad.
Seriously. Like
And
Floyd,
supposedly
at least
later
he's
on a bed of
small.
guns and told her if she went to the police, he'd kill her.
Yeah, and she believed that enough not to go back to fucking court. I mean, apparently,
Well,
allegedly, whatever the fuck you gotta say.
They settled outside of court,
Yeah, whatever. I just can't excuse
which
it.
means he handed her a year of his NFL salary and moved to MMA.
I don't know. I was praying to God Conor would knock Floyd's fucking ass silly too.
We'll see. I'd like to see Derek Lewis fight this guy. I think Volkov is probably gonna lose, dude.
Oh God, I'm not picking that. I can't. That fucking wraps up that card next week, though. There isn't a whole lot else on that card. Honestly, that is a bunch of fighters I've never. There's a handful I've heard of.
Yeah, they're all right.
They're all probably pretty.
It's
talented,
a
honestly.
you know
A
it's
lot
a
of
it's
these
a
Eastern Bloc
yeah it's
fighters
just
are
a
fucking
classic
hella good.
it's a classic card of like when you go to Europe, it's a bunch of European
Yeah,
fighters.
it's
you
tailored
go
to the area.
Yeah,
as it
it's
should
the
be.
area.
I'm
You know.
shitting on these guys. There are actually probably a fucking lot of great fighters on there. I
Yeah.
don't know who any of them are.
Yeah.
Hopefully
We'll
have
see.
something good to
Hopefully
talk
they
about after.
make some noise and we find out who they are.
Right.
You know.
Nice thing is this. We get it. I think at like 11 o'clock out here in Vegas. So
Is it?
it's another Saturday.
Oh, it's
afternoon
another one of
card,
those.
Yeah.
Ah, what?
I'm gonna hit this bong.
Damn, you're gonna wake up to Greg Hardy winning, dude. How does that feel? You're gonna wake up to the news of Greg Hardy winning. You're gonna be like, ah, fuck. My
Be
day's ruined.
surprised. Oh hell no! No, you can't ruin my day. My opinion of fucking Alexander Volkov will be ruined. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure. But I think that was ruined a long time ago for me. All right, well, I think that wraps today's show up.
Yep, I think so. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If it's your first time listening to us on WBUZ 95. That's where you can catch us 6 p.m. Thursday nights. That's West Coast time. Was it 9 p.m. Eastern time? You can also find video on YouTube, podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Where can they get all that info?
SWATMA.com. Head over to Instagram. Follow us. Drop a comment, like, all that good shit. Buy a t-shirt, support the podcast. Winter's coming, so maybe buy yourself a jacket.
Absolutely. Holiday season around the corner.
Yep.
Get yourself some good weed. Smoke
Yeah.
that shit.
Smoke some fucking weed, dude.
Peace.